everyone, this is Xavier and we're here in Verbier, and I want to welcome you to the first Audi Insights live webinar. It's the first time that I'm doing it to this scale and I'm super excited, so thank you for taking a part. With my co-host Nico Tzacek, we're going to be talking about some really interesting subjects such as avalanche danger, mountain safety, technical routes, and many more. And more importantly, ask me any questions you like because I'll answer them live. So just go and get yourself a coffee or drink and I'll see you in my living room in about 1 minute.
And here we are, live from Verbier, Switzerland, Audi Insights with Xavier Delarue. Thank you so much for welcoming us to your living room, my friend.
It's a pleasure, Nico. Hello, and thank you for coming all the way from Austria. And thank you for being here, for taking part of this. You guys are way more than we expected. I think over 1,000 or something. This is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, more than 1,000 people at the screens at home. Thank you very much for joining us today. And the rad thing is that all of this was your idea, right?
Yes, kind of came, from that partnership we have with Audi. In the last few years, I've been kind of wanting to share a lot more what I've been learning through all my trips throughout the years. And we wanted to do this kind of seminar in Verbier, but on snow, have like go riding, talk about free riding, talk about photography, many things. And we could not, the freaking little bug, the one we talk about all the time. Yeah, so we came up with the idea of doing it live. And we have a really cool setup with a screen. We're going to be able to talk on photos. And we have got many cameras and many people everywhere filming us. So there is a lot of pressure, but I'm very excited.
But you know where the pressure is? The pressure is on the people at home, because this is designed, and this is what we have all this beautiful technology for, to be an interactive webinar.
Questions, like if you can ask us questions, that would be great. Maybe explain how it's going to run for everyone.
Yeah, this is how it's going to run. So you guys have a code below the screen that you can see right now. You can put it on your laptop next to the screen, or there's also a QR code which you can scan with your phone, and then you can make us full screen and ask the questions with your phone. And yeah, we want to hear questions. We want you guys, if you see a question that you like, then we want you to like them so they will be voted up. Because I have a feeling there might be more questions that we can actually answer.
Yeah, you know what? Bring them over. We might not be able to answer everything. We're going to try to answer the best ones. And whatever you have extra, just go to my page or Instagram, write me, and for sure, I promise I will answer.
If you really want him to answer, then you should go to his YouTube. That's my tip.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I answer all the questions on YouTube, Instagram. Not as good, but yeah, I'll do my best.
So that's the first thing you learned about Xavier Delarue, folks. But you know what's cool? And this is my favorite bit of this show. In the end, some of you guys can actually call us via a video call. And then we're going to be chatting to you in the room here. So
yeah,
this is rad.
Seeing your face. So makeup, get ready.
Hey, Xavier, did you bring us some kind of agenda for today? What can people expect from the next solid hour?
Yeah, so basically we're going to be talking a bit about things around freeriding. So split boarding, mountain safety, kind of the fear and the doubt, whatever goes through my head. It's basically, I'm not going to go really specifically into each subject, but I'm going to share, the way I live it, the way I experience it, and hopefully it's going to inspire you. So might feel a bit out there sometimes, and I'm sure some of you will want to have exactly, the rundown theory and technique, but you can find that in different places. So on, with my episodes, you could find everything really specific, all the technical stuff, but there are many books, many courses that I will encourage you to do. But today it's about sharing the vision and the passion that I have for freeriding and snowboarding.
And I promise you guys, we might have even done a little test, and I can tell you one thing, it's going to be inspiring. So before we start, I think most likely everybody who's watching right now knows the name Xavier Delarue, but I'm 100% sure that not all of you guys remember what you've actually done throughout your career. So let's dive into this a little bit. How did it all start?
It started a long time ago. No, I'm in my 40s right now, getting gray hair and everything. So imagine I've done a lot of things. No, but I've been really lucky to discover many stages of snowboarding. So I've started on hard boots in the Pyrenees back in the 90s. And I've done a lot of border cross, actually. That was really a sport that I used to like a lot of freestyle back then as well. And kind of put all of that together, yeah.
Any trophies in border cross?
Few trophies. I have some at home at my house. No, yeah, 4 world champion titles, 3 World Cups, 3 X Games, and I messed up the Olympics, actually.
It's still not so bad, my friend.
Yeah. No, but it was great times, like especially the good years of border cross, like really, pushing speed and like I think I developed myself as a snowboarder a lot. I was really thriving through that discipline, and it kind of gave me such good tools after later on to take into my freeriding, because from the very beginning, yeah, well, that's a competition, but we'll come back later because. I still remember when I was 14 years old or something like this at my very beginning of snowboarding. I remember looking all this mountain in the back of the resorts, far away. And it was my dream to access that and to being able to go out there and put everything I was learning up there. So it's always been in the back of my mind and throughout my whole career as a border crosser. And eventually my dream came true. It became my job to be a professional snowboarder, to go on these mountains. So happy days. Yeah. Competition. Yeah. Is that where you want to get to?
Yeah, did the border cross background help you to win the Freeride World Tour? How many times? 3 times?
3 times. Whew. Yeah, I think it was great to first to have the mindset to being able to charge, to handle the speed and everything. And also I think to gave me really good technique to being able to handle speed, to handle big jumps, and actually it took me a while to find out my style in freeriding. I went through quite a few competitions where I was trying to do like everyone else, and then eventually I was just like, what, I like going fast. I feel comfortable, it feels fun, so this is my style. And I started to embrace it basically and started ripping down and became happy.
So this is crazy, because when I said earlier, everybody knows your name, but not everybody might remember what you've done. Now we've talked about border cross, Freeride World Tour, and you getting into freeriding. But when I think of you, actually in my head, you are more an expedition type of guy, an explorer. So was that the next logical stage in your career?
Yeah, this is the more recent evolution. So because, for many years I was pushing really the performance side of the sport. In a way, I was really trying to go as hardcore as I could. And I later on tried to put that on video as much as I could. So I was doing video parts, the typical season that you spend going around the world trying to get the
shots.
The shots. Yeah, exactly, the craziest lines, and I loved it. But eventually, it became, I wanted to see a bit further, and my snowboard did become a tool for traveling, basically for adventure, for discovering new things, and it's been amazing because it has only been geographical. It hasn't been just going to Antarctica, Alaska, but it's also been I've been trying to find ways to see the mountains in different ways, you know, like using paramotors to drop into lines, riding ice lines in places where you would normally have to rappel and things. And like, I kind of tried to change a bit my vision, and it's been great. You know, it's been an evolution all the way, so it has never felt boring. And that's why I'm here still today with my white hair still.
So it feels like you're always reinventing yourself, really. Why don't we just...
It's a need, yeah.
Should we just look at some stuff?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
put
yeah,
it in.
Sure.
Well guys, I'm on blue fucking ice. I was close to go down. I put my ice screw in, I'm safe. Give me 2 minutes to figure it out, but I need to get out of there and I only have one ice axe, so I'm a bit fucked.
Xavier, it just looks like 100 meters lower from you. Where it gets narrow, it looks as icy as where you are, so it might be icy all the way.
I don't think you get it. I lost my head there and I just cut myself with the puree, otherwise I'd be dead, man.
Yes, this is the Xavier Delarue I think about when I hear your name. And what I love the most about this concept that we're doing here is that most of the time we see you, you're a little dot on a screen flying down the mountains, but now we can actually sit here with you in the room and find out the story behind all of this. When you see those images, I mean, you've seen them 1,000 times, is there still emotions going through your head? Because when I see them, I'm just like...
Yeah, it's like I have a smile because these were, you know, nice moments of my life. They were pretty intense on the moment, but I've very often felt that, whenever you're pushing hard on the moment, it's like high pressure, you're in your zone. But then the cool thing about filming it is that later you get to appreciate it over and over. So yeah, this is cool, and I'm very happy to share it. Yeah.
Nice. Hey, let's talk about the present and maybe even the future, because we've talked about your past, and I'm wondering, how does your life look nowadays here in Verbier?
Yeah, it's like, you know, you've seen me traveling a lot, going everywhere. You know, I spent 20 years of doing that, and right now I just got a second daughter. I'm like in my 40s. I talked about the white hair, you know, it must be a fixation or something. But anyways, I'm super happy to just, live more simply. And actually fits quite well, the timing with the COVID and everything. I'm so happy, like exploring everything, what's around Verbier, around my home. When I went to the Pyrenees, same, you know, I've been exploring things, and all my projects are more driven around that, because that's what I felt. You know, I felt that I was always traveling everywhere, but there was so much to explore around us, like, yeah. So I'm very happy with that. And also I think I've changed a bit with the maturity with getting older. You know, I've become a bit aware of the way I consume, the way I travel. So I try to travel less also for sustainable reasons, or I try to travel better. And I think this is quite on point with like being partnershiping with Audi here with the e-tron. You know, I've had that amazing car for a few weeks, so I've been able to test a bit the e-mobility. You know, it was a bit of a fear. You know, how does it work in winter with the cold? You know, there's all these myths and stuff. And,
How does it work for you?
and it's been a blast, honestly. It's been, you know, I drive around, I go and scope my lines and things, and I do it without having the guilt of burning fuel. So, no, I'm super, super happy, but obviously very fortunate. But yeah, I'm happy, fortunate, man.
You seem to be a very well-balanced person.
Thanks.
This is rad.
Sometimes.
And I think now it's time to dig into the first topic. One more time, the reminder for you guys out there. Keep sending questions, but this is going pretty well. So keep sending and liking the questions. But yeah, let's dive into the first topic, which is splitboarding. I've had the honor, and this is maybe the thing I was most excited about, coming here and look into your man cave. And I've seen a lot of snowboards, and it felt like there was more splitboards down there than normal snowboards, right?
Yeah, well, splitboard is kind of the main part of you know, my life in the last few years, for sure. Being in a resort is cool, but being out there in the nature is just the magic of it. It's just endless. All of a sudden, you go from a tiny area to something which has no limits and which will evolve with time and everything. So yeah, splitboarding is the tool.
Well, then let's see some images of Xavier splitboarding. Audi Insights with Xavier Delarue. Splitboarding advice for the people out there. I guess you would need 2 hours to do that, but is there a little bit you can?
Yeah, no, there's so much to say, like, honestly, and it's hard, like, in this webinar. You know, I don't want to get into details because there's going to be too much to tell. And for sure, I encourage you to go on different platforms and try to inform yourself, try. But I could show you maybe my gear quickly so you get a bit of an idea of what I use. Yeah?
Yes, please do that.
All right. Okay.
Do that.
Cool.
I'll take the camera real quick because he's too humble to do that himself. So Xavier has a YouTube channel. It's called youtube.com/howtoxv.
Yeah,
right?
XV,
Is that
like Xavier.
And then you can learn about splitboarding. And we thought, while we're still here, we might as well look at his setup. So let's check it out.
Nice. Yes, like I will not, well, for those who know splitboarding, of course, you're not going to learn anything, but this is my go-to model that I use every day. It's the Rosino XV63. Everything is XV. Why? No, but I really enjoy it. There's been a lot of improvement in the last decade with bindings, especially with systems that really keep the boards together. And I think, although it's not similar to skiing, and that's a bit of a trap, if you start splitboarding, you should not just try to compare it directly to skiing, because it's a bit of a different philosophy. It's a tool that works really well and which you're going to have to invest time if you want to get into. But also that tool goes hand in hand with many other tools, but you've probably heard that before. Avalanche safety is basically a must when you go into the mountains. So probe, shovel, beacon, and you should not only have it, but you should you really work on using it. Test yourself every year, like remind yourself how it works, do some training. Avalanche airbag, ABS is super important. Yeah, we will see later how important it's been for me. But basically for me, there's no powder day without that. 3-piece poles, they're useful in splitboarding, but also I really recommend them whenever you go free riding, and especially if you follow skiers. And I also quite often have a little ice axe and crampons in my backpack because they change the game quite a lot. They come from a different world, from the world of mountaineering, but they will extend your reach and your possibilities and your safety. Yeah.
Is there one thing, Xavier, that you bring to the mountain that people might not expect from you? The secret little drink you bring, or
no. My weakness is I need to have a little reward, and I love saucisson, dry sausage from where I grew up. So I might have that in my backpack sometimes, but yeah. No.
Okay, nice. So this is your gear.
Yeah.
And these, my friend, are the first questions.
Ah, cool.
Ooh, there they are. So you ready?
Nice, excellent questions.
Oh, there's many. There's many
All right.
coming in. Let's start with the first one. Kaspar Bader is asking, what are the key pointers, tips for boarders who are newer to off-piste powder runs and want to improve their skills?
That's a long subject, but but I think the important thing is to really start step by step and never know into something you don't know. And there will always be things that you don't know, so you're gonna have to learn to turn back. I think this is the biggest lesson of all, I would say, for free riding. If you don't know, if you're not sure of yourself, if you imagine the worst consequence and it goes wrong, just don't try. Okay, this is rule number one. So it's gonna take a lot of time for you to learn, but you need to spend the energy, you need to invest time into free riding because it's a really fun game, but it's also a serious game.
I got a setup question for you, which
Okay.
is a good one. It's from, now I just lost it. But now I have to remember it. They keep popping in and it's popping too fast. Slow down, everybody. Take it easy on me here. It's not so easy. Okay, I like it. The question was, what's your setup when you ride really, 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 really steep lines? Like what snowboard binding hard setup you would leave?
I use the very same setup when I ride very steep, and I try to use the same setup as much as I can because that way you're really dialed into it. You're really used to it, and it's even more true with the split boards because split boards are made with metal bindings, which feel a bit different from normal bindings. And if you spend enough time in them, you get used to them, and that's all good. But you will see that I used to be like kind of a bit paranoid about the fact that I had fairly narrow boards and that in the steep they might touch and I might not have a good grip. But in the end, with a snowboard, you can really play with your ankle and you can go really in any kind of terrains with most of the gear, I would say. And I think the board that I use the most, like if I'm going to be touring to a steep, I'm going to use a 63. But if it's a steep where I'm going to have to really destroy, with a lot of speed, big airs and stuff, I'm going to take one size higher. And it's amazing the difference that it makes. Like a few centimeters on the board and your turns become much bigger, much more fluid, and you can stomp a lot better all the cliffs. So, but that's a bit of an extreme case, yeah.
You want another one?
Yeah.
I enjoy
bring
the
it on.
questions.
Yeah, it's
you
good.
guys are doing well here.
You guys are doing great.
I'll do the setup questions now, and then we do more avalanche safety related questions later. Damn it, it's gone again. This is so fast.
You're doing great.
So the question was, do you run any splitboard camps that we could join?
I
like that one.
I get that question quite a
Yeah.
lot. You want me to retire or what? No, but this was supposed to be one somehow. But I guess I'm gonna have to get into that at some point because I think it's gonna be really interesting to spend some nice moments in the mountains and to share a bit of that on the ground. It will be a lot more real. So yeah, keep on following me, and eventually you will see a sign-up thing for my next camp. But I cannot promise when.
Well, the need is definitely here, my friend. I'm going to be fast now. Mikolai Gutsovsky is asking, what's the best system to attach your skins to your splitboard? It's another gear question.
With skins, you can have either kind of glueless skins or skins with glue. So there's going to be a bit of a weight difference. If you want to be sure, if you want something that works all the time, take like skins that have glue and make sure that they have like an attachment in the tail. So like a clip on the nose and a clip in the tail. That way they will stay there. And you will learn slowly how to use your skins, how to put them well, to make sure your base is dry and a bit warm. And there's a whole process around skins, but practice makes the answer.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right. We have more questions, but they all go in a different direction.
Okay.
So I think we're going to move to the
direction.
next topic, which is avalanche and safety. And now we're going to do a magic trick. Now he's standing here. Let's show a little video. That's sick. It's just fun. And then he's sitting there, and I missed the ending of the trick. Hey,
Come on, focus.
okay, I'm too excited with all the questions that are coming in.
Me
We're going to put them here, leave it there for a second. Avalanche and safety. This is another topic where we could now talk about for 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it's a very, very deep subject, but I think it's hard to talk about split boarding without talking about avalanches because, yeah, obviously you're going to get that freedom with the gear, which is amazing. You're going to discover new places, but you enter places where the game is completely different, you know. When you're in a resort, things have been ridden quite a lot everywhere. It's been bombed here and there. You've got a lot of knowledge about all the conditions everywhere, but when you go into the real wild, it's like a lot of the slopes that you're going to be riding or touring on will have not been touched the winter. So, you know, you might be able to trigger a lot different kind of sorts of avalanches and things. So you need to be prepared. Yeah.
So again, this is a topic where you can read a lot in books, or you could even go back to Xavier's YouTube channel and find out a lot. But today, I think we want to talk about one specific incident that happened in your life, right? Have you ever had a bad experience?
Yes, so we've seen before a few clips of like medium-sized slabs, I would say. Things. It's not something quite standard, like it's all gathered there, so it's not something that I take lightly, but it does happen. And that's important to always know that it does happen. But this one time that we're gonna see now, it happened way bigger than I expected. And it completely caught me by surprise. And it made me realize how crazy and how much, like how huge the mountain is and how much it can crush you if it wants to. And how you need to be aware of this. So let's have a look, because I think it's been an important experience for me, and I'm happy to share, you know, what I learned from it and yeah, why it happened.
Oh, well, that was definitely not just a little slab, Xavier. I'm excited to find out why you chose this and what you learned from it.
Well, why did I choose this? I think it's quite simple. It's because, you know, from my experience, I felt, you know, especially being younger before this happened, that it was always hard to realize how big and how powerful an avalanche can be, and how sudden it can happen. And yeah, it's hard to say, but I think it's a lesson that's kind of important for someone to understand that. And unfortunately, you need to learn the hard way, I guess. But I'm here for that. You can like share my experience, and maybe I can explain you a little bit the mistakes that I did, because I kind of combined a lot of mistakes that day. And this is usually when bad things happen in the mountain. It's an escalation of things that you don't respect. So yeah, we have this amazing tool, and this is quite cool. I can draw anything I like. So this is me. How cool. No, I got basically dropped here. So we were filming a part. It was after winning my first world title, and I was super excited. And we rode really steep runs all day. And this was a lot more mellow.
When and where?
Yeah, when and where. In 2008, it's like next valley over from here, Verviers. So it was in Orsières, so in the middle of the mountains, not far from here in Swiss valleys. And yeah, I got dropped at the top. And because it was a mellow run, it doesn't look that mellow, but if you look at it from the side, it was very not steep at all. And there was just the top section which was a bit steep. So my first mistake was that I didn't do really like we would do normally when we would sit down, like shut down the whole team, look at the face, take photos, study everything, you know, like kind of discuss different scenarios, discuss, you know, with the guide, the safety and everything. There was just, oh, it's more mellow than what I've done all day, so it's going to be easy. So I went a bit like without all this preparation, and this was a very bad mistake. Because so you see me, I dropped straight away. So they dropped me, the heli put itself in position to film, and I went straight in, and I did my first turn into that huge patch of snow, which I kind of should have spotted already when I was at the top, and I didn't. And you know, when something like this happens, if you've been prepared for it, you know that you're gonna keep your speed to go and escape and like hide yourself. Yeah, so there's this is a safe corner, so you're gonna have spotted all your safe corners all along the run, and I didn't. So my only first reflex when the first lap went was to just straight lie down. So here I'm going this way down. I don't even know exactly where I'm going because I was supposed to go the other way. So it was
kind of
completely, I was away from, like, I was just in full, how do you say, like, I was winging it
just
completely.
reacting.
Yeah, reacting with adrenaline without thinking at all. Let's go to the next page. How cool is that tool? Right?
I love it too.
No, so there you can see, I arrived at the bottom of the technical part, and like instead of just crossing over, going back to with the team, I thought I was out of trouble, that these two smallish slabs had not touched me, but then you can see here that everything starts to fracture. Like, so you see this thing, it's basically all the weight of those small slabs above, which triggered everything around me. So there you can see I'm here, and you can see that it's just cracking everywhere, and you can see the size of the crack. This is probably 1.5 meters, 2 meters or something, so it's serious. And the problem there is that there's not, like, usually normally after a run like this, when we film, quite often we try to find runs with a clean out run at the bottom, so a flat part here, but instead it went down 1,000 meters. And you can see, yeah, the result here. At this point, I kind of realized that, there's no escape, that I'm just gonna go down all the way down the valley, and I just pull my airbag, and I know that I just have to count on the skies to help me. So yeah, it's pretty nuts. You're gonna see now a bit of a perspective of the whole face. So, you know, we were standing here, so this was only the part that we were filming. And I was talking about the flat part, which could have been here, but which was all the way down the valley. So I ended up sliding 2 kilometers like this.
Whoa!
So yeah, it's just enough to tell you that it was, it was a kind of a miracle that I made it. And that was, like, this won't happen twice. Yeah.
Did you pull the airbag at one point?
Yeah, I pulled the airbag, and I got found on top of 6 meters of snow at the bottom here. Yeah. And but I woke up in the hospital.
Yeah, that's my... So thanks for sharing this with us, especially the beginning, is I think that's what's important for you guys out there. That's the one thing to take away. You never not be smart, never rush, always be aware when you're in the mountain. But this has been, how many years ago you said? It's been 13 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
How could you ever step on a snowboard again after this incident?
Yeah, so I think it's a good point, because you can imagine my first reaction being in hospital was like, okay, I never want to touch a snowboard again. This is just a ridiculous sport, way too much danger involved. I have to stop. I remember telling that to my wife at the time. And I stayed a few days in the hospital, and I remember being shocked a bit at myself after a few days, because it was still sunny and there was so much powder on all the peaks. And I was shocked at seeing myself reading lines on the peaks. And I was like, really? You're doing this after what happened? Yeah, that was very strange, but at the same time, it kind of struck me as, oh, you actually really, really like this, because you're still looking at those mountains. So it was kind of a bit of a reminder how much I loved it. And after that, it was summer, so I got a lot of time to think about the whole thing, to reconsider everything, to kind of analyze what I did wrong and what I was doing wrong on a daily basis. and to kind of set a bit of new standards so that I could keep on doing it, keep on doing my passion, but with reasonable risks. So this is what I've been going into after that. And I think, you know, I was talking of the best lesson. It might be hard to understand for people that see that because it's kind of a shock, but I've pulled out the best of it, and it has helped me so much throughout the rest of my career, and it still does today.
Very inspiring. And we have a lot of questions regarding that topic. Are you ready for the next round of questions?
Bring it on.
Yeah, there's so many. This is rad. First one comes from Nuno Santos.
Okay.
That's a good one. Do you have a checklist of things to look for or pay attention to when going free riding?
I don't. No, I don't. I think I do it a bit automatically.
Automatism. Right?
Yeah. I've been building really automatisms into my riding. So they of course come like before, when I check the weather, when I check the forecast, when I go up and I see all the signs going around. Before I drop into anything serious, I'm really cautious. I really take my time. But most of all, what I do is I really have a routine, like kind of like a checklist, but it's not an actual checklist. But every time I ride some lines, I do the same. I always check the beacons, and I always have the habit, you know, because I never ride alone. I always ride with friends or with people, and we, you know, I always do the right things. You know, I've built up these automatisms in a way, which I do all the time, and which, you know, happen without questioning. So, you know, I never drop at the same time with someone. We always go and stop only on safe spot, islands of safety. And I really ride like this all the time, kind of thinking that it's going to slide all the time. And this is, you know, it's a bit painful because, you know, you could just enjoy your day. It's sunny, you're with your friends. But what came out from this accident was that the price to pay to continue to live your passion that you love so much is to, you know, have this part of attention and this kind of routine that's quite strict. And that's a bit annoying, I would say, but necessary.
It's not, I
Sorry,
think
long answer.
No, but it's good. Yeah. And I even think annoying might be the wrong word. I think it's just a part of the game.
It's a part of the game.
It has to be for
exactly.
you and for everybody out there. I think that's the point.
But it's something that would be easy to cut, you know, because, who wants to do the annoying part of life? But yeah, exactly. Sometimes you have to, and especially there, because there's a lot at stake.
The most liked question that we had so far is from Özan Ünsal. I can go to mountains couple of days in a season since I'm living further from the mountains. How can I improve freeriding skills and technique with only limited time?
I think if you have limited time, it's a very good question. I think it's even more important to go with someone that knows well and someone that has been spending time in the place where you go. Because the problem when you don't have much time is that you're going to arrive, it's going to be the first sunny day, you have no idea of the conditions. You cannot get the real impression with like snow reports and everything, and with what people tell you. You need to be out there. You need to see things evolve, and you need to have been there to understand how things evolved. And I think that this would be my first recommendation. Like, get help, read, try to inform yourself, try to get whatever inputs you can, but put all these together and try to get a better idea of it. But never, it will never be 100% information. Always trust yourself and be careful and humble. Yeah.
You want a fun one in between? Yeah. Jonathan Lindquist, I like that one. Xavier, do you have any tips or tricks of getting back up on a snowboard after falling in deep powder?
Yeah. We've all been there. I think this is a part of the game, but it means that if you struggle to get up, it means that it's deep. And it could be the case tomorrow, actually, because it is really deep right now at the moment. And yes, it's there is a bit of a technique. I think you have a bit of a rundown of it in the episode, like 10 tips for freeride beginners or something like this.
It's in there?
But so it's basically good to really slide and put your board kind of in the line of the slope and put all your weight on the back foot. But I think probably watch the video and you will understand better, because it's not an easy one to explain.
Luca Hagmeyer is asking, hey Xavier, how do you mentally, strategically prepare for big lines and or new tricks?
Is that not a bit early to talk about that?
Should we keep that
Because,
for later?
Yeah,
We might
we're gonna answer your question, not next topic, but the one after. So yeah, we keep the order.
There's another. This is nice, man. You're helping me with my. That should have been my job. Thank you. That's another. There you go. Jonathan is asking, how do you get started with avalanche safety, and what's your advice on what to look for when signing up for avalanche safety courses?
Yeah, well, there are more and more avalanche safety courses where you learn how to use your beacon and you use you get to know general rules about what to do in the mountains in case of an avalanche. It's actually quite a heavy and deep subject, so you need to spend quite a lot of time into it. But you will see that there is so much theory, which tells you a lot and which is super interesting. So the more energy and the more time you can spend into it, do it. But it's not everything. I think that to kind of bounce on that question, I think once, like a really long time ago, I was I was listening to. We had a conference from this mega expert into avalanche who had been studying avalanches his whole life, and he told us about snowpack, different layers, different seasons, different cases, show us avalanches, everything. At the end, he's like, you know what, if I could, if there's one thing you need to remember is that you can forget everything that I told you today. And the one thing that you need to remember is that when you ride, you need to ride as if it's going to slide. And I remember at the time I was 20 and he was saying that out of the blue like this. It kind of shocked me because he was quite academic, but that really still resonates today because it is so true, because the best experts, however strong they are, however experienced, they still get tricked. And to not get tricked because you cannot understand 100% the snow is to be prepared to react if anything goes not normally in a way. Yeah.
Let's move on. And a little advice for you guys. For everybody who we sent a link for interaction, this is the right time to click it now, to submit your questions, to get your headphones ready. That's really important. And then in a couple of minutes from now, we're going to get some video calls into your living room, which is sick, and we're going to chat to you. So please do this now. And I think we should move on to the next topic, which is something I've wanted to ask you and all the other people that are good at it for a long time. It's about approaching difficult and technical routes. I mean, this is, I could see myself, and I'm sure a lot of people out there could see themselves free riding next to the slopes in the easy terrain. But the stuff I see on the photos everywhere in this house and that we've seen today, what's your approach to this?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a continuity of what we just said. It's just taking all that risk management and use it to being able to scope a line. So yeah, like there we can see a bit of a mellow case, but I think it applies either to a technical line or an easy line.
Can you show us, please?
Yeah, I will show you.
Come on, I love the screen.
Okay, cool. So I think this is great because this is this is a small line. Like this is a bit outside of the resort here in Verbier on the way to the Bec des Roses, which is just up there. And you can see, I think this is a good example because this photo tells the whole story. So start from here and arriving here. And you can see that here I'm just traversing on this south facing. So it feels kind of safe because it's been getting a bit of sun everywhere. And I traverse high, like keeping a bit of speed in case something goes. And once again, the cool thing about this face and this run is that everything is clean and flat at the bottom. So it reduces a lot the risk. And you can see that I'm targeting here, this safe spot here before I start to hike up, because it's good to know that when you're gonna hike up, you're gonna be without your snowboard, so you can't escape. So in a way, you're even more vulnerable. So you can see here below the rocks, it's a bit less loaded. So this is why I choose this path. So because I'm under the rocks, normally, if anything happens, it's more below me than above. So you always kind of put all the best chances in your case regarding your objective. But again, it will never be 100% safe. So this is something you need to accept and play with. And then on the ridge, you can see that I'm staying a bit inside here because there are some cornices on the other side. And cornices, just a special shout out because they're very tricky.
Nobody likes them.
Yeah, you don't see them and you can't find them. And it's so easy to just boom, trigger one and fall through. And I've seen many friends fall through them, never in a bad way, but always in a scary way. So pay attention to those. But yeah, this is the top of my run. So obviously this is the best light. So the best snow. And of course, the more loaded, because yeah, there is more powder. Yeah. Why does it work like this? But you can see here that basically, if anything happens, so what I do here is like study the worst case scenario. So it would be like the most probable would be like this kind of pocket would drop. So this is why I take a lot of speed at the beginning. Do my first turn, like I keep the turn open
so that
I can keep
at the beginning
speed.
You don't go zigzag straight.
Basically, yeah, I feel much better. The more speed I can have from the beginning, the better. And when you do the little zigzag, as you said, at the top, you have no speed, you put all the pressure, and the top of your run will always be the most sensitive, like most of the time. So for me, this is something that scares me, but yeah. And and after that, after first turn, everything goes well. So I keep in my line and finish my line kind of in a nice flow. I always like to kind of pin it down a bit and make it feel like a video game. So
that's Xavier.
This is cool.
How long would you have, before you went there, how long would you have assessed the situation before you started hiking?
This is a place I know quite well. It's fairly obvious conditions, so I think I spent probably 10 minutes watching it. But 10 minutes is a lot. Like when you're riding every day, sometimes with friends, it's hard to tell everyone, hey, let's stop, let's look, let's think. If you think about it, do you do that ever?
Not enough. That's a fact. Not enough. Why, you brought another example?
Yeah. This is just another example, which is a bit more me in a way.
Molly,
But I like it because it's quite obvious. So you see Samantha Matten here at the top. Hello. No, like here is a obvious danger. So there's a big cornice at the top, and exposure here at the bottom, and an island of safety here, which is a safe spot where you can stop and rest. And then a second one here. So I think that's kind of nice way to make you understand, the process that I use. It's always, okay, this is my start. This is really the most dangerous zone because of this danger and this danger. So nothing should happen there. So you can see I haven't made any turn. I've gone quite quickly, fairly safe traversing, going down with a bit of speed until there. And I know that there I could assess things. I kept on riding. I didn't stop fully. But kind of the spirit. So I went from point A to point B, and then my next safe spot was here, so point A to point B, and then from there on it was a lot safer. So it was open, so I could let it go down. So this is kind of the process that I have whenever I get into a bit more serious lines. So always safe, and catchy in the middle. So go fast and efficient. But yeah, once again, there are a lot of buts and ifs, and it's related to conditions, to your level, to knowing your level. There are many things involved, but this is the way I function. So yeah, hopefully that can inspire you or make you understand things. Yeah,
it's very inspiring. Maybe a last questions for this one, a quick one. How and how long would you have looked at this one before you started?
That one I looked quite a bit longer because there are more things everywhere, so you needed to really make sure that there would not be anything tricky, and the access into it was a bit technical. It was with a rope next to a cornice, so I wasn't sure it would work, so we spent quite a bit of energy, but that was a premiere in Haynes actually a few years back. Yeah.
What's the longest you've ever spotted a line, and when?
I think here, like for the Bec des Rois competition, I've spent like 3 days sometimes, like just literally going and watching the mountains throughout, like all the different angles, like checking the snow at different places, taking photos, dreaming about it every single night and not sleeping.
That's a very good transition, actually, because we have another topic, which is fear and doubts, and I feel like we should start it with some more beautiful images. some moments there. I saw your face, and it looks a bit different than you sitting on the couch here, right? I mean, it's a general thing where action sports athletes are assumed to be fearless or crazy, right? When you hear this, and you are, you know, free riding in AK or Verbier or whatever would be very high up in the list of people being fearless and crazy. What do you think when you hear that stereotype?
Yeah. I remember suffering quite a lot, always showing films every fall, being like called, "Oh, you're really crazy, you should be careful, you're crazy." But yeah, fear is a big part of what we do, and it's true that it's something that we go with all the time. And I was saying before, you know, how it would be so much easier to just be thinking of enjoying your day and everything. But fear is actually very important because
in a positive way, like.
Yeah, in a positive way. Well, actually, I feel that there are two kinds of fears. Like there's the fear which kind of helps you to concentrate and to be on the moment, to be aware of everything around it, and to be really focused, like 100%, especially when you do something really hardcore, like on that line there was a Verbier 2010. And I would never do that line again. It was crazy. No, but anyways, there is that fear. And on the other side, there is the fear which kind of, puts you like so much adrenaline inside you and makes you lose all your strength and all your clarity of mind. And I think it's good to kind of differentiate the two. And I think in a general matter, it's super important and super beneficial, I find, to be in the mountains and to kind of be confronted to it, so that you get to know yourself better. You know when it's helping you and when it's kind of taking out all your power, and when you should trust it or when you should push it away. So so I think that this is something that I encourage. But don't get me wrong, I don't mean that you should get into fearful situations, meaning dangerous situations. I mean that being out there, like for sure in the mountains, there's always a bit of adrenaline, but I think it's really nice, instead of blocking it, to try to
cultivate it.
Yeah, cultivate it. I think that's the perfect word. Yeah.
Has there ever been a situation where the two different fears that you just described, kind of one of them is kind of a little bit the heart maybe, and the other one's a little bit the brain maybe, where this collides, and or what's your mental process there?
Yeah, I think that mental process comes even easier. It comes even before that, because it comes before the fear, because the fear is usually before you drop in. But I really feel that within the process of a line, there's always kind of two phases, like really a phase where you analyze everything, where it's like the logical part of your brain, which is going to analyze all the facts, like all the danger, part, the size of the jumps, the snow quality, the things. And it's basically all these boxes which, that part of the brain is going to tick, and which is going to tell you, okay, this is validated, green light on that part, you can move on to the next. And I find that the next part, once you validated everything, you kind of put that side on silence, and you try to let a bit your emotions and your feelings and your heart. You could call it in many ways, but I'm sure many people that do action sports will understand what I say. But I find that this is a super important process, because when you drop into your line, there are so many parameters to check after, that if you have not spent time before in a logical way to study them and kind of store them in your brain, and if you're not able in there to just let loose and trust yourself and like stop thinking because you don't have time to think, then you're able to react in a good way, fast enough and automatically. And I find that, it's so intense, but at the same time so magical. And I've always really loved these moments, when you're in the line and you're in, when you've done your job, your homework well, I would say, before the line, and that everything happens by itself, and you feel that you have a lot more control. But
do your homework, folks. That's the key.
No, I'm getting a bit trippy there, but it's really the way I function, and I find it fascinating. Yeah.
Well, we promised you we were going to get into the mind of Xavier, so there it is. I mean, you're not only a snowboarder 24/7. Could you even, use this and transfer this to your normal life?
Yes, this is a very good point, because I think very often I find that I use that kind of same technique, like I've spoken a bit of I have a doubt on the face. Okay, what's the worst case scenario? Can I play with it? Can I ride through it? But it's the same in life, with like some little fears that you have before, I don't know, going into a meeting or before your first date, or it could be many small things, but which give you fear, and they could be important or not important. And you think that way, you're like, okay, but I think that way. Okay, what's the worst which could happen? Like right now.
That's the important
I'm
question,
in front
right?
of many people. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. What's the worst that can happen if I screw up? I'm gonna look like an idiot.
Still,
It's not
nothing
the end
really
of the
happens
world.
in this case.
I'll go right into tomorrow. No, but and it has helped me a lot to take a decision, to jump into the water when I needed to, and yeah, I think this is something I will always use. And I think that in that matter, freeriding and mountaineering can be called as good schools of life, I would say.
I love it, man. That's one of the things I'm going to take home from this talk. Just always excess, and there's not much that can happen most of the times.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But now I think it's time to get interactive again. Now I'm actually going to lean back a little bit because the people want to talk to you. So we're going to have some video calls coming in for everybody who's going to call us in a second. Put the headphones on, and yeah, let's see who do we have in line, Xavier.
Oh, yes. Hello. What's your name and where are you from?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Oh,
now.
yeah, there's a lot of echo
Cool.
on my side, but okay.
Nice.
I would just talk. I'm Lucas from Austria. Long time
Ew.
friend, started splitboarding 1.5 years ago, and the echo is gone, thanks to the text. And now we have a tricky situation. The snow are great, we had a lot of snow now, but I tried to do splitboarding as well, train for big lines, and my question is, what kind of splitboard tour do you recommend if you ride on your own? Because, of course, you never should ride alone, but if you see something which is near some resort, right, very good accessible, what do you recommend? What do you see there, or what do I have to recommend for that?
I think, yeah, that's, well, first of all, welcome, because you're our first guest like this, and it's nice to see that it actually works. And it's cool to see your face, because we're on the same page. Here there's a lot of snow as well, and it's also super dangerous. There's been avalanches in every corner, and I think your friends are right to say that you should never go on your own, and especially in situations like this. And you will learn more and more how much patience is the key. And it's just so hard, and it doesn't make sense, but very often on the first powder day, you would expect me to be the first one up there, just drawing the first lines and stuff, but I'm not. Like, I let everyone go. Sometimes I'll go only at 10 o'clock, wait and see what happens, and then I'll really go gradually. Wow. And yeah, as I was saying before, this is such a hard decision. It's probably the hardest thing to do in freeriding, and in splitboarding, it's even more true, I would say. And but yeah, this is something you have to respect. Yeah, it's super important. And for splitboarding, the cool thing about it is that you can always have a good time, even if you don't have the craziest ride, the most epic line that you dream of, or something that you can be super proud of. Sometimes it's nice to put your ego aside, to not try to prove something at the end of the day, and go back. Yeah, like, have a good day out there and appreciate different things and reflect on what you do up there and things. Yeah, I know it's easy to say from the couch, but yeah, this is something I could recommend. Yeah.
I know what you mean. We had that last weekend, this weekend, and we had a lot of power, even on the slopes, 30 centimeters, so that was nice. Do I
Well,
have
that's
for a second question?
Yeah, one
Bring
more
it
is
on.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not able to hear you anymore, but well, I'm
Just
just
give a-
asking.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself in shape during the season and between seasons? Because now preparation time, now we are during the season.
Yeah, Nico was asking me the same question, and basically this is something that I have through like from my competition years, where always when I was training physically with the program and everything, it was always my worst seasons because it kind of took the flow away, and I've kept that like nowadays too. Like I really need to like to train not feeling that I train. So I go in the mountains, I do mountain biking, I do a lot of hike and fly, I do mountaineering, I'm gonna go climbing, I surf, I kite. I try to be out there all the time basically, and it usually does the trick. And if there's one thing, if I really need to be prepared for a special event, I think the one thing I would work on would be my abs, because I think the core is the most important part of the body. But yeah, I've got big muscles, so I don't need to build up muscle strength and stuff. But yeah, I'm not a good example for training.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you so much.
That one? Oh, that's it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, man, it was a bit brutal, but it's a work in progress.
It's good. It's
yeah.
sick. Okay, we're gonna do one question from the iPad in between, and then
Okay.
we're gonna get the next video call in.
All
But
right.
this is sick. This is working, right?
Yeah, very
This is
cool.
fun. He would have spent an hour with you. Did you see this?
Wow.
Okay, there's
I would have to.
Okay, wait a second. Now I need to refresh as well, because there was just 76 new questions. Sorry,
Okay.
coming in. Is there some apps that you use to prepare your journeys? IGN maps, steepness of mountains, etc. That's a question of Little Birdie.
Yeah, Birdie. I use I don't know if you know FatMap. It's like a really good
yeah.
3D mapping
Yes.
system, and it's really good because you can put all the different filters in there. So you can put the gradient, you know, the exposition. You can see what other people have done in the same area. You can match it to an IGN or to a Swiss Topo or any sort of a different topo map available. So there are many tools and many functions around it, and also it's super precise 3D mapping. So with this, you're able to spot kind of all the little cliffs even in your runs. So it's like
Sick.
actually, yeah, really cool.
Fat map.
Then you can choose the season. So yeah, this is what I use the most.
Nice. Do we have another video call ready for Xav?
All right.
Take over, buddy. You.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Yeah. What's your name and where you're
Nice.
from? Can you hear us? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Leon. I'm from Innsbruck, and
Austria in
super
power
cool
today.
to be here. Austria. Yeah, it's snowing a lot right now, even in the city.
That's rad. Yeah.
I was wondering because there's this trend right now with the fish boards, you know, with the fish tail. What's your opinion? What are your thoughts on this? Is this actually helping you in powder conditions?
I think this is a super nice question because it's really up to date with the conditions, because basically tomorrow it's exactly the kind of board that I'm going to use. But you have different levels of fish. So you could have the super hardcore fish with a really micro tail. I'm going to speak at Rossignol because that's what I ride. And like one of those boards I have is the Sushi. And I really, really like it, but it works in super deep conditions and woods, I would say. As soon as you go out of the woods, I find that it has a really short radius. And if you're going to encounter any hard snow, like it's a bit painful, especially on the hillside edge. But I really, really like the compromises between those kind of boards and the normal freeride boards. So like at Rossignol, the Sashimi, for example, which has a bit of a longer tail, I think these are the weapon of choice for European terrains, at least. So I would say that real fish are great for Japan, for Canada, or for really tree run on super exceptional conditions in Europe. But if not, I would recommend an in-between. So if you could have like a tail which is 30 centimeters more or less, I think this is a much better compromise. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
You happy, Leon?
Was that the wrong
Yes,
answer?
because yeah, I just
No,
bought
he's
myself
happy.
a fishboard, and I'm super excited to try it out.
You're gonna have a blast, and like very like all the time. You know, I'm talking in a techie kind of way, and I have the luxury of being able to choose exactly what I want. And you're gonna love your board, but just keep that in mind. You will see. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Cool.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care. Have
Bye.
a great evening.
Bye,
Ciao.
Austria. I got some. I have so many here. Can I
Yeah.
squeeze in
Yeah.
some more?
Let's do it.
Okay. Verbier, Michal is asking. Verbier is epic for powder, but can be crowded. What's your favorite spot outside Verbier in Switzerland?
Ooh, outside Verbier in Switzerland, it's usually nice to go in little ski resorts, you know, on big powder days and stuff. Like you go in a little unknown ski resort because usually you'd have a lot less people, a lot less hype, a lot more time to do things, probably less big verticals and things. But I think this is a big compromise if you want to go away from from crowds. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, around here there is Zinal, Grimens, Champelac, Ovrona. There are many. I think this is the beauty of Europe. We have really the choice, and in every kind of countries around us, there are always like a lot of tiny ski resorts that are always amazing and really genuine, I think.
Here's another one that goes with it. So, what's your favorite spot on the planet?
My favorite spot on the planet. It actually depends what for. I think. You know, I think that my favorite of all times, favorite adventure and stuff has been Antarctica, I would say.
Yes.
It's been the most striking, I would say, on all levels in terms of beauty, like the adventure to get there, the scenic, the wildlife, everything. I think Alaska also has to be kind of really right up there. These amounts of snow are just ridiculous, and the stability of it, you know, allows you to do things which you would not in a normal life, kind of in a way. This is retarded. And then in Europe, I think there are a lot of spots which allow great high alpine possibilities, you know, like Verbier, Chamonix, Zermatt, all these places are great. But I would say, you know, it's not necessarily about the spot. I think it's really about who you go with and the spirit that you go with. And I think to me, that's the most important. So I don't dream of going somewhere. I dream of spending this cool moment with the right people. And I think this is usually when I have the best adventures.
Let's have another cool moment with hopefully the right person. Let's have another video call, Saf. Yeah.
Hello. What's
Hello.
your name?
Thanks, man. I'm Luca
From?
from Italy.
Spain. Hola, compadre.
No, Spain, Italy.
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 Nice.
Damn it.
Ciao. All right.
Not far from Verbier. So my question is, you talked about like you have like with your experience, you get the mental checklist on. You check, you see the face, you find the safe spot and everything. But like, how do you mentally get prepared for like do not panic or like be quick, like fast response reaction?
It's a good question because it's super important not to panic when things go wrong. You still have time to correct things to make sure that they don't go too wrong. And you know, I don't know if you heard before, I was explaining how a bit of work before, if you have prepared a tiny bit before you get into something, you know, like what could go wrong and what could be the solutions. So which are the kind of safety or things which could happen. So you already have put that into your head. I think whenever things really happen, you are kind of prepared. But if it really catches you by surprise, you know, in the same way that it did in this avalanche here, it's really difficult to react correctly because you're overwhelmed and before you have your head together, you're already in trouble. So So I don't know if there is any training.
There's-
I've never done any training. I've done it kind of on the ground. I think competition has probably helped, you know, breathing probably helps a lot also, you know, to get into the right mental state, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think, you know, I've always been asked many times to do mental coaching, and I've always been like, no, I'm too, I've got this, I don't need it. But now looking back, I think this could be good sometimes, you know, to get to know yourself better and to know a few techniques which allow you to kind of grab on when things go wrong and make you give a bit of airspace in your head that you can think better. But I think this is a personal matter. It depends on each one, I would say.
Yeah, as you said, like you're not a good trainer because you get trained with a good like health lifestyle. So the training comes by itself. There's not much you have to do because you go riding, you go hiking. Same with the mental side.
Out there regularly is super important, and I find that whenever I go biking, climbing, anything, I always tell myself, okay, you know, I try to not come home without having pushed myself a little bit. You know, we call it get out of the comfort zone. I find that this is something super important to maintain. And, you know, if I go skateboarding, I will push myself to do something where I might crash again, but whatever, I do something, I push it a little bit, super important. Yeah, and I think that's a rule I have personally to kind of keep that mental health in a way and like that strength. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Bye, ciao.
Is there any
Bye,
line?
ciao.
I got a couple more cool ones.
Cool.
Can I throw in another one here? This is a fun one first. Leon Köhler is asking, every time I drop a 3-meter plus cliff and the landing isn't very steep, I end up on my butt. How can I prevent from this?
No, I love that question.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because it took me years to answer that.
Tell
because,
him. There he is.
Yeah, well, I will speak of my experience because I spent many years of always, you know, getting on a cliff too slow, kind of in a way, and just getting there. And you're a bit nervous, so you don't go really fast, and you just let yourself fall, and that's like so hard. And I remember thinking, how do they do like those super strong riders to being able to stomp cliffs? And then the moment that you start to put a lot of speed into your cliff and put a ollie way before the end of the cliff, it becomes super easy. And basically, instead of falling, you end up really transferring and having a really nice transition into your landing, and you see your landings a lot better. And the fact of putting an ollie way before the end of the cliff, you're a lot less likely to touch like little sharks that would be at the end of the cliffs. So speed is your friend. Yeah. And watch my How to Jump a Cliff, because I explain all of that in there.
There's another one. Yeah. Xavier's YouTube, everybody. Okay, I'm going to throw in one more. Oh, there's many more, actually. Josef Migas is asking, hi there. How many times you turned back from hike or ride because of bad inner feeling that something is not right? And it turned out to be a good decision.
You would be surprised. It's, let's say once every... between 5 and 10 sessions, I will turn back from the line.
Sick.
Yeah. It's
a
standard procedure, really, and it has to be. And I always say, you know, it's true in free riding with snow, and it's also true in mountaineering. You know, it's always nice to not judge straight away. It's nice to go as far as you can go in terms of the approach and in terms of getting close to your line and close to dropping. Knowing that you can turn back. So there's always a moment where you can't turn back anymore. And this is when it gets critical and when it's like commitment or nothing. But it's nice to allow yourself to go as far as possible when you have the option of turning back, and if necessary, turn back. So yeah, keep practicing on turning back, because I think this is something that needs to be practiced. Yeah.
You up for another one?
Yeah.
No, this one's cool. David Dupuy is asking, Xavier, what would be the most exciting riding team for you for a perfect freeride session? Victor, Dudes, Le Guru Badu, Jeremy Jones, any other ones?
I can take all of them at the same time. And we would have a blast. Yeah, these are all great friends that I've done really cool stuff with, and my brother. Yeah, the list is long. I used to ride a lot with Xavier Jordan back in the days, like when we started. We used to have a blast with my friends from home in the Pyrenees. With my wife, I have amazing adventures. With my daughter as well, Mila is charging. She just did her first backflips yesterday, so
Is she a snowboarder or a skier?
she does both actually, but
okay.
she did them on ski. But yeah, no,
Sorry.
this is cool, and yeah, it's super important to have people to share like the love of riding, because yeah, it's much better when shared.
Sarah Rubeck is asking how to avoid ankle pain when going up with a slipboard without going straight up. So, dré dans le pentu.
Dré dans le pentu to
She's saying ankle pain.
So
right?
yeah, it's probably from the torsion sideways, because I think this is when you go up and that you have your soft boots. Well, first of all, you will lose your grip and probably could hurt your ankles. And I think this is when it's important to not open your high backs too much, and to have your boots quite tight and your bindings also quite tight. You always think that for touring you need to be as loose as possible, but in fact it's quite important to have as much support as possible so that you're going to limitate that torsion. And if your boots are too soft, you could even also potentially put a strap around your high back and the top of your boot to really keep it, together. And yeah, it's a big, like a bit of a trend at the moment also. Like a lot of, like more and more people are getting into hard boots just for that reason, to avoid all that torsion sideways and to have performances that are closer to ski touring. But it's a choice if you want to put, your chances more on the uphill or on the downhill. But I'm all for the downhill.
So you're a soft boot type of guy.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one more? Yeah? One more?
Yeah.
After 2 knee surgeries, I find it hard to get back in shape, both physically and mentally. George is asking this. Any tips on how to get back to the mountains at 100%?
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure, and yeah, especially if you don't live into the mountains, it's gonna be like even extra hard when you get back to have your body ready, and if your body is not ready, it's gonna be even harder to get your head ready. So I think, like, if you can, you could go on. Like, I'm not the one to recommend training, but there in that case scenario, I think this is something that would be important. You could go biking. You could go. I don't know if you have access to outdoor sports. I'm always all up for outdoor sports because I find that they really combine, the physical exercise, the pleasure, the understanding of the surroundings. And also a bit like the mental training, I would say. So just, make sure you push yourself and keep the pleasure. Don't have a program that's too annoying, because otherwise you're going to stop. It's better to have something where you're consistent. And anyways, at the end of the day, when you get to the mountains, start slow. The body takes about 3 days until your muscles are really together and that they start holding better the articulations and all the joints. So keep that in mind, and hopefully you can take enough time so that you get to your full shape.
Xavier, I have hundreds of more questions, but I know at one point it's time to bring the daughter to bed. No, but so here's the deal. We've done this for the first time in this scale, and I think that was super rad. And if you guys feel the same, I think we should do another one. So please subscribe to the newsletter. There's a little link down at the bottom, and also fill out the survey that we prepared, about this little webinar. If you liked it, or also if you don't like it, fill it out, please. That would help us, and then we can do another one, hopefully. If you want to find out more stuff, go to audi.ch. And other than that, I had a freaking blast. Thank you for everything, and I think I'm going to leave the last word to the man himself. What do we?
Well, thank you, Nico, and thank you, everyone. Yeah, I was a bit like nervous before.
The fear.
Yeah,
The
because there was a bit of a
fear.
fear with all that technology and everything. But yeah, I'm very happy, and like we've been a bit, like touching a few important subjects really with the tip of the fingers, and we could go really deeper into things. So it could be great to do some seminars that are more specific and really go into details. So feel free to share that with us, and feel free to write me also whenever you want and ask me the questions, and I'll make everything possible so that I can answer you and keep this going. So have a great season. Be safe out there. Enjoy it with your friends, but like be clever about it. And I hope you get to live some amazing adventures and that you got inspired by these talks. And voilà.
Merci.
Happy days.
Yeah.
À bientôt.
Thank you, Audi. Thank you, team.
Yoo-hoo.
It's a wrap.